although one is not surprised with the direction of the paper based on his position as a police officer. He will definitely, expectedly, I believe, write this paper in this way and manner. Perhaps if he was on the other side, he may have had a different viewpoint. For example, he started the paper by saying that the security of the nation is the responsibility of every citizen. And I'm always appalled, respectfully, when I hear people or hear someone say that the security of the nation is the responsibility of every citizen. I have very little knowledge of the law. I'm in the midst of very eminent lawyers and judges, but I've never found it in any law, perhaps I haven't seen it, where it is legislated that the security of Nigeria shall be the responsibility of every citizen. So it's always a puzzle for me where people actually extrapolate this from. I would have thought that the legal provisions that we have is that security is actually endowed to certain agencies who are constitutionally and legally required to do their jobs, and not to, in a manner of speaking, delegate it to all of us. I'm told that a dog that is fed by 3 people will actually die of hunger because there will be nobody in charge, and Mr. A will believe that Mr. B has fed the dog, and he will go his jolly way. Mr. B will think, okay, Mr. C is a better person, he would have fed the dog. He will walk away, while the other person will think, okay, the other people have done the job, and he will walk away. So Mr. Dog will, at the end of the day, be without breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So in a manner of speaking, and I do not wish to disagree with my learned friend, but I think that that is where our security situation is right now. Everybody is doing everything, and nobody is actually, nobody knows who is doing what. For example, recently in, I think it was Akwa Ibom State, the state security services kindly and nicely arrested a journalist for what they call criminal defamation. I think it was Akwa Ibom State. Criminal defamation, I think of the governor or somebody, some highly placed personality. So you have the state security services, which is established by the Nigerian Security Agencies Act to deal with the internal security of Nigeria, and only the internal security of Nigeria. In other words, a specialized agency that was set up for a specific, sort of mandate, now dealing with, okay, you have a quarrel with the governor, you said some things, online about the governor, we arrest you, we detain you, and even when the court granted bail, they said, no, we are not going to release because the Attorney General has not instructed us, to release the person, although eventually they did. Only when the Director General from Abuja had to step in. So, to my mind, I question what is now the role of the state security services, and what is the role of the civil defense? Civil defense is another one. What is their job really and truly? You see them everywhere now and anywhere. So I just emphasize this to make the point that right now in Nigeria, it appears as if we have everybody doing everything and doing nothing. And that is why we had the problems that we have during the COVID-19 lockdown. Because we have a very, shall I say, with due respect, security system or architecture that ought to progress. I had the privilege of appearing in one matter where the operation is it Wabizigan or Wagazigan? What is it called? Wagazigan. Arrested a Nigerian because he had expired vehicle papers in the lockdown. And the man's explanation was the Board of Internal Revenue is locked. I can't renew. So they wanted him to do some things, and he was unwilling to do some things. So they decided they were going to charge him to court. And they charged him to the magistrate court under the Public Highways Act. They didn't want to use the one of Edo State, the road traffic law. They wanted something that will ensure that, he would be either killed by the court or sentenced to high imprisonment term. So they had to go look for a federal statute that was non-existent to charge him, because this COVID-19 period, of course, is a period for the police. They can arrest, there are no courts, so it's their opportunity to detain as much as they want to detain. And if you ask me, I always argue, and I say so with the greatest respect, that the more we breach people's fundamental rights, the more we contribute to the insecurity of the country. When we fail to observe the rule of law, directly or indirectly, we unwittingly contribute to insecurity. The Boko Haram, which my learned friend referred to, was a small organization somewhere in Maiduguri, and I'm sure at that time none of us had heard anything about them. They had their enclave, they were doing their religion, periodically they had quarrels with their neighbors, until the army arrested their leader, I think it was Mohammed Yusuf, and his father-in-law, and handed him over to the police for prosecution. And the police executed both of them in cold blood. They executed them. And the moment they were executed, the Boko Haram elements became very angry and decided that they were going to fight the state. So, as they say, history has recorded several deaths. Although eventually the family went to court, the Maiduguri High Court awarded them 100 million naira, which the government quickly paid to try to calm them down. But at that point, it was already too late. So I say, and I respectfully urge, that the more we move to respect the rule of law, the more we can move away from insecurity. At this point, I want to believe that if any of us here sees the corpse of a corpse is already dead by the roadside. I saw one the other day along a titi. Even I was scared to stop at the nearest police station to say, look, there's a corpse of somebody on the road. Because I know that I would immediately be asked to write a statement. And I will be asked to explain how I identified the corpse. And I wouldn't want to get involved in that. So, like every other Nigerian, we drove past. Why? Because we recognize that in trying to follow the law, you will have a lot of problems. So I think this is the issue that sort of engages our attention when we deal with insecurity during the COVID-19 lockdown. The increase in it is as a result of the failure of our security systems. And we ought to, as a body, we ought to, as citizens of the nation, actually realize that we need to address this in our various ways. That the more we move away from enforcement of the rule of law, from recognizing the rule of law, the closer we move, the closer we get to insecurity. All these events that took place in Lagos, where you had million man, or what they call them, writing letters to people and saying, we are coming to your house, wait for us, and they will actually go in their numbers. It's because they know that when they are arrested, they would always be able to do what they would do, what they have done over the years. There is little respect for the rule of law. So I would advocate my learned friend that is something we should look at. The second point he made is that the governor of every state is the chief security officer of their respective states. Now, I wonder whether that is a good thing. Some people will say we are not yet at that point where the governors of states are chief security officers of their states, because this also speaks to insecurity. When the person at the helm of affairs is unable to be dispassionate in taking decisions, or is unable to be properly advised, or those who will advise would prefer more the comfort of their jobs, their salaries, than the enthronement of the rule of law. And I say this because we're in the COVID-19 period in relation to the actions of certain governors around the country. Many have done very well, but several of them saw it as an opportunity to display naked power. And we saw some of them, and there will be no reckoning. Again, when you have a movement from the rule of law, where you have people taking actions without any consequences, we gradually move towards insecurity, and more towards insecurity. My learned friend also talked about why there's an increase in the insecurity. And his own conclusion was that the economy also crumbled, and this contributed to it. I tend to agree somewhat, but on the other hand, I also see that our police haven't quite deployed or moved towards IT as a tool for security enforcement. We still work with the mentality of the what's the age called now? Is it the analog age? Analog age of security enforcement, where the police must necessarily come to your house, must arrest you, interrogate you in order to get some information to start to work. So I think that this period, as my Lord has also made some provisions in terms of virtual sitting, the police should also move in that direction in terms of having IT in their technologies, and technologies-driven investigation, fingerprinting, DNA profiling. They should move towards that, and not the analog system of, you have to arrest the person, you must question him, break him down until he confesses. Because that's where we still are. And every other country has moved away from where we are. In fact, in America today, most people who were identified with eyewitness evidence and convicted and sentenced are being released because DNA have showed that they were the wrong people. They were the wrong people. So the areas that other countries are moving away from, we should not be moving towards it. So I urge my learned friend of the police to respectfully consider that. Then again, the actions of the Inspector General of Police, quite commendable in terms of ensuring that more police officers are taught more things in the school. But again, with due respect, that will also be teaching them the old things, teaching new dogs the old tricks. So unless we are revamping the syllabus, then of course we are not moving on. Last time I checked the syllabus, the police college syllabus, it was still the same thing as in the 1970s. So I haven't checked it recently, last 1 year. I don't know if they have improved it. But these are areas where we can concentrate on to actually impact and improve our security system. My learned friend ended by saying the society will play a vital role in tackling the challenges of security in this area of lockdown. I'm not saying that we as citizens should not play our roles, but I tend to say, and I wish to emphasize that in conclusion, that I would have loved to have seen how the Edo State Police Command has actually fared. Most of the reports that we got are from other, sort of areas. I would have loved to see more of that in this paper, but by and large, it's a beautiful paper. I commend it to all of us as a subject for further thinking. My Lords, the Chairman, I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.